I'm Nando Rodriguez, your breakthrough coach, and today it's all about imposter syndrome, because if you didn't know, now you do. So have you ever felt like a fraud or a fake? You know, that feeling of, oh my God, if they only knew. Well, as it turns out, high achieving people often feel like this, and it's normal to some degree. Because if it's stopping you in your tracks, causing a negative impact in your business, career, entrepreneur life, family, friendships, and overall lifestyle, then Houston, we have a problem. Imposter syndrome is no joke. And a few people like Oscar winner Viola Davis, recent Golden Globe winner Awkwafina, she just won her award a couple of weeks ago, so congratulations, girl. Mr. Rogers and the one and only Michelle Obama have all discussed their experience with imposter syndrome. So what exactly is it? The term imposter phenomenon was introduced in 1978 by Dr. Pauline R. Clance and Dr. Suzanne A. Imes. And this is how it all went down, all right? They interviewed a sample of 150 high-achieving women, and all 150 women had formally been recognized for their professional excellence by colleagues. They had displayed academic achievement through degrees earned and standardized testing scores. So bottom line, they had awards, they had recognition. You're getting the whole world of this, right? Okay, great. So there was so much hard physical evidence of them being experts, high achieving. Basically, like they should be where they're at. And it makes sense. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that if you want an expert in X, you go to Sally. Well, here's the thing. Sally didn't think so. And she wasn't the only one. Despite all the evidence, they were looking around basically saying, like, who, me, the expert? But these women lacked the internal acknowledgement of their accomplishments. Now, I want to be responsible right now and say, at the time of the research, 1978, women were the only subject of the study, so it's understandable that the research skewed to females back then. But today, we know that 70% of people, both men and women, have experienced imposter syndrome in their lifetime. So here's my disclaimer. Imposter syndrome is not a disorder. Imposter syndrome is not a mental illness. So what is it? I'm so glad you asked. So Clance and Imes defined imposter phenomenon, or imposter syndrome as it's known today, as an individual experience of self-perceived intellectual phoniness, aka feeling like a fraud. And in today's video, I'm going to break down the 4 most common traits of imposter syndrome. So sit back, relax, and get ready to take some notes, all right? Trait number 1. You feel your success is a result of luck. This is such a common thread in people who experience imposter syndrome because basically what it does, it discredits the hard work you've actually put into it. All the studying or just the application of your skills. There is no validation in existence for you, nor could there ever be, that you are totally responsible for where you're at. And the downfall of this way of thinking is that you, in your life, you start playing small because you don't want to be put in a higher situation where you really let people down, right? So no promotions for you, no raise, no new project. In other words, you keep your own self protected from possible wins. Trait number 2, you minimize praise or you avoid acknowledgement. See, imposter syndrome has you saying things like, oh no, anyone could have done it. There's nothing special about me. Here, what I'm asking you to do is do an internal check, because I know many of you want to remain humble, but what you have to say in response to acknowledgement or praise is it coming from an empowered state of mind, or are you actually disempowered with what comes out after you hear praise? All right? Empowered is, I got it, thanks, thank you so much. Disempowerment is basically shrinking the work that you've done and not recognizing how talented, skillful, and how valuable you are in the world. And this leads me to today's Nandoism. It's not that your star doesn't shine, you just don't take it out to shine very often. Trait number 3, you feel like a fraud. This is the classic imposter syndrome experience. All right, story time. I remember working for one of the most iconic advertising agencies on the planet. being miserable for 4 years of my life because I was scared that they were going to uncover I was a fraud. So I was hired as a temp, recruiting account directors all the way up to executive VPs and even a COO for the company's social media division in New York. And after being there for only 3 months as a temp, I was asked to go to a meeting with my boss, the head of recruiting, and the global head of social media. Global. Talk about feeling like a fraud. I literally had a panic attack in the bathroom an hour before the meeting. I'm fired. Sure, I'm fired. Why wouldn't I be fired? Like, what? They are going to discover, they're going to tell me. And I remember having feelings or thoughts of like, and now what? Now that I'm unemployed, now what do I do? So there I was in a conference room with my boss and the head of global social media. He was on a phone call. He was in Switzerland attending some convention. So took the time out from his Switzerland day to be on the call. And to be honest, everything he said to me was it just sounded like wah, 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 because all I kept doing was scanning for words like fired, letting you go, you suck, you're horrible, what a fraud. And then a few minutes later, my boss actually kicked me under the table. She noticed I was zoning in and out and she asked, "So Nando, what's your response?" And I was like, "Oh, can you repeat that one more time, please?" And the global head's voice said through the speakerphone, "You've been doing such a great job for us in New York. We want to hire you permanently as the head of social media recruiting for North America, which now means you'll be recruiting for Atlanta, DC, Chicago, San Francisco, etc." I thought I was miserable before. My panic attacks got worse because now the pressure was really on. Because in my mind, I had tricked them into thinking I was a good recruiter. Meanwhile, check this out. Meanwhile, the evidence, because of the hires I was making, the company was winning new accounts, growing business, and our work was being awarded and it was being recognized globally. So despite my skills, being an amazing recruiter, I was trapped inside the thought of that fraud mindset, living my most miserable life. So guys, before we go on any further, I have to ask you, have you ever felt like an imposter? Let me know in the comments below and how you got over it. Trait number 4, you experience symptoms related to depression, generalized anxiety, and low self-confidence. Are you starting to see like the whole cycle, how it all connects? Imposter syndrome is the experience, but the impact could go as far as having you feel depressed, anxiety, panicking in the bathroom, lack of confidence, inside of the work that you're doing that you're actually good at. So I want to take a moment here and for you to tell me what's opening up for you. What are you discovering? Leave that in the comments for me, okay? Clance and Imes believe that this mental framework for imposter phenomenon developed from factors like gender stereotypes, early family dynamics, culture, and attribution style, which means how do you explain a negative event to yourself, right? I want you to know that you are not alone. Remember, at least 70% of us, 70% of the population has experienced feeling like this in their career. And if you're relating to any of the traits and you see a version of yourself in like my example, there's hope. And it's about diving deep and creating a transformation in your mindset. So 1, own your skills and your capabilities. Truly own all the hard work that you've done and that you do. 2, get comfortable with praise and acknowledgement. Create a new perspective inside of receiving praise and let it be a factor of satisfaction for you. 3, kill the fraud mindset. You and I both know it's not true, and working on owning your skills and getting comfortable with praise will actually lead you to having less thoughts about being a fraud. And 4, check in with yourself. When I was experiencing my panic attacks and high anxiety, I did not know the root. Looking back now, I attribute a lot of my anxiety and depression and anger to imposter syndrome. If this video made a difference for you, or you discovered or learned something new about yourself, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you know when the next one is coming out. And listen, for those of you who stuck around, I want to introduce you to my Supercharger course. It's an online course I created that helps you supercharge your life. It's 45 minutes. It has 4 modules loaded with bonus materials that offers you 4 solutions to quickly shift your mood and create an energized attitude that keeps you motivated, helps you achieve your goals, and be empowered. So here's the thing, if you're experiencing imposter syndrome, this is the course. It has tools to supercharge your mood, to create instant shifts and smash that imposter syndrome mindset. Okay? So go check it out and become a supercharger in your own life. Guys, I'm Nando Rodriguez, your breakthrough coach. And remember, I'm here to make your life sexier.